Hello everyone, Sunson, welcome to another follow-up overview, this time on Megacraft. So, last time we covered this was for 114, I skipped to 115 because I think it was mostly a bunch of tweaks or little fixes, and then porting it forward. Other than that, the 116.5 version does have a few new features that I thought I'd cover. I don't remember much of the fixes and things, so I'm not really gonna... or tweaks, so I'm not really gonna cover those, but just more of the new content that's been added, like the VSD, the Dark Energy Distributor, which is an excuse for me to cover the Energy Distributor again, and properly. Otherwise, there's Thermal and Mechanism and AE2 support if you want that, but I'm not really going to be covering those in this video. There's also been a few texture changes as well, I guess, but yeah, we'll just cover the new features. So, VSD first, which is a endgame block. We need the highest tier ESD, and you need the transmitters like so, and dark matter. So if you have access to a dark matter fabricator, then which is just all the machine modules and a bunch of other bits and pieces. Pretty much this block is a tesseract quantum entangled quarter type of block, where it obviously does items, fluids, and energy. So what you can see here is you can create a channel, which I've got 2 here. I'm not going to create a new one, but if I were to, it would be just say third, and then you hit the new channel button. From there, once you've got your channel, obviously you've got public and private, which you do want to create specifically channels for either of these. Public will be that anyone can view them. Private, I think, is when it's that only that person can use or see it, or it's that people can see it, but they can't interact with it, so they can't edit anything related to it. I think that's the case. I asked the question here, so you can read that, which is one of the newest on the page, of course. So, where's the in reference to private channels? Such and such, such and such. But anyways, so that's you've got, obviously, we'll just go with public for now though. You can see there's the yellow text on this, which means the channel we're targeting, so that would be because we've set the channel with this button. So if we wanted to change it, we can do that, but we're going to stick with the test one specifically because that's the one that we've got working. We can edit after we select it. You can see there's the highlighted box there, and you can see now a back button, an inventory button, which is where you have your item internal inventory for this block, energy, and water. So this will be the internal inventory for any of these things that you're transporting if it has nowhere else to go. So say if it's got power through here and it's got nowhere else to send it, it's going to stay inside here, and then eventually when it has somewhere to send it, it'll do that and send it to that next location. Recently they just added the naming of channels, or renaming of channels, which I greatly appreciate you adding the feature real quick, thank you. And yeah, you can now rename your channels, because creating them and deleting them isn't a bad idea, but sometimes you do just want to edit something, so it's a nice feature. That, and it also fits the button description of you can edit things that you've basically just created, which is mostly the naming. So yeah, that's fine. So you can set channels, you can edit and find out its internal contents, and you can delete a channel if you don't want it. So we don't really need this second one, so we can just delete that. Moving on, we've got the configuration, which has your typical multiple sides you can access, as you can see here. Get rid of this stuff here, because it's annoying me, and we don't need it. So you've got your redstone control, you've got your item filter, and you've got a bunch of stuff. I forgot that they did add the item filter just recently as well, like the renaming of the channels. Thank you. So you've got the pretty much equivalent, I think, to the item one, or it was already a button there before, and I forgot. So you've got the filter, so whether it is or isn't even acting on things, I think. Blacklist and whitelist, if you do or don't want to have it, you know, accept certain blocks or items. Ignoring tags and using tags, so I think this is for like MBT in particular, so this will be for things like enchantments, potions, and other stuff, I think. Okay, so there's MBT there. Okay, that might be for additional stuff, the tags there. So that might be for things like your dusts and ingots and things, I think, where it's got like multiple different types and it follows it, or it's something else. Tags are always a thing that I think I understand, but I probably don't. But yeah, MBT is your enchantments and other stuff, so yeah. That sort of thing. And then you've got your states, which is pretty much your sending and receiving sort of stuff you can add a bit more to, which you don't find in the typical blocks for a reason. So what you want to do is pretty much either cycle between passive, which I think it just passes through, or it does nothing, because I actually did have power going through here with this being in push. But the other is completely passive, so we'll test that, and you can see that's still receiving power, even though that's push and such. But pretty much, passive is the default state. Pushing is that it's pushing it through it, so this will be the one that is pushing it out. So this is the output option. So pushing is outputting. Pulling is inputting, of course, and then push and pull is a back and forth of both options. So I guess if you wanted to do both at the same time, but you've still got the single block output that you're doing, or for maybe certain configurations you need it to be in this state, so one's doing input, one's doing output, or different things. So say I had an item input here, an item output here, and the energy one or something. I assume that's the sort of purpose you'd have it for. And then we're back to passive. So as you can see with our power setup one here, we've just got some power from this generator going straight through, and it's going through to here. So again, this is in push state. This is in passive, but you want at least passive or pulling for it to work, or otherwise it's not going to do anything. If you leave it as both push, you're going to see that nothing really... Okay, maybe it is. That's odd. Maybe it is. Maybe it's just the leftover? Don't know, actually. 75... I don't know, then. Either way, that's the way I interpreted it. But either way, it seems to be doing pretty good. If you do this for items, it's pretty much going to work the same way, as well as fluids. So we just get a tank real quick, and we'll get some water. Do test. Oops, I don't really need that right now. It doesn't have any power. Can break these and survive. Do it, I'm pretty sure. So just get this out of the way. And we get a tank to go here. We'll get a bucket of water. So let's see. And you'll be able to see how that goes. So just switch this out to fluid input. And that one to fluid output. And you can see that it's now got its fluid in there. Let me take that out. And if it's obviously full, it'll go straight into this block's internal inventory. As you can see, the 7,000 that was in there, that's obviously been added here because I didn't have any others going in there, of course, beforehand. So we just do this. Creative, obviously, it's much easier to deal with that. So let's see, then I'll immediately get to the top. At some point, so this one, and this one, and you can see it's now gone into the internal inventory there, the 1000. And once that's filled up, which obviously it most likely won't, then it will go into here, because obviously this is a quite large internal buffer. Otherwise, that's it. Items are pretty much the same. I'll just show, I guess, real quick, so that I can show every possible thing it can do. Just get a bunch of chests. And we'll go this one, oops, sorry, we'll want just that, I think, was it, right? So, chest, send that through. That's not doing that because that is not in a push or pull state. Yep, so that's not doing anything. So pull, there we go. And that's now in the internals. It's not reached that one yet, but it has reached inside to this. No? Okay, so it went straight through, yeah. So push and pull is very much important for items. For fluid and energy, it seems to just work pretty well, whether in passive or not, but with items and blocks, you do need to have it set up. So this needs to be push, because it's an input and output. Oh, sorry, an output, sorry. And this is pull, which is the input. So it pulls it into here and pushes it out to the chest. So, yeah. And it seems to do pretty much a whole stack, no problem. So, that's that.